Welcome to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes, the podcast with hot takes on food media.
We interview popular chefs and food personalities, sample all kinds of food media, and try cooking challenges in our own kitchens.
Let's dig in. Hi, it's Justine.
And it's me, Meg.
Welcome back to another episode of Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes, where we are cooking themed recipes every month and also chatting about the latest food media we've been consuming. Now, this is the end of March when this podcast episode comes out. And as a reminder, this month we've been celebrating Holi on 3/8, Pi Day on 3/14, St. Patrick's Day on 3/17, and Cookbook roulette. Now, I believe, you all heard Meg's roulette spin last episode.
That landed me on Indianish by Priya Krishna.
So very excited to dive in. I'm going to go first. What I've done, I made something for Holi.
Yay!
Now, I made a gluten-free banana Malpua.
So I looked at your beautiful photos, and this looks like a pancake.
It is a pancake.
Okay. My eyes did not deceive me.
So first thing I wanted to do was actually learn more about Holi. And Holi is the Hindu festival of colors, love, and spring. It's a victory of good over evil, a celebration of the love of Krishna and the arrival of spring. And it's most known worldwide with the celebrating and dancing with colored powders and water. So in my research, I found that good foods to have for the celebration are sweet and spicy, including chaat, barfi, lassi, and I saw a lot of snack foods listed.
A lot of snack foods, a lot of desserts.
Yes. Now, I did a Pinterest search, as I often do, to see if there's been someone in my shoes who wants something vegan and gluten-free, or at least dairy-free. And I came across this recipe for Malpua, and it's a cardamom spice banana pancake.
Sounds great.
Yes. So I actually made pancakes, if you can remember that I'm really bad at making pancakes.
You just always have to throw out the first one. That's the rule.
I think I threw out like the first three. So one of the major differences between our American pancakes and Malpua is that they like the edges to be very crispy. So the recipe told me to keep adding coconut oil to the pan between each pancake, but I had to find the right balance for what worked on my stovetop and my pan. And like I said, 3 pancakes later, bucket list achieved. These are made with mashed bananas, rice flour, baking soda, cardamom, and full-fat coconut milk. Like, 2 thumbs up, would celebrate again.
Do you serve them with anything? Any sort of sauces?
You can serve them pancake style. You can do maple syrup or honey or various nuts, things like that, whipped cream, anything you like. For me, personally, since I don't eat a lot of sweets, they were already very sweet enough for me, and I was just ready to chow down on, like, I was like making them and then just sort of eating them as I was making them too. But they were like my first I was testing them. I had to test them.
Yeah, that's the chef's prerogative.
Yeah. So score 1 for me. I made actual pancakes.
Since you used so much coconut oil, did it taste coconutty, the end result?
Kind of. I mean, it also has coconut milk in there, so it's definitely sweet, but with the coconut oil, you're just really getting that, like, crispy edge, which I didn't use as much as I went on because just bad things were happening in my pan. Like I said, I just made a lot of adjustments. So, yeah, you get that coconutty, it's sort of like the aftertaste, the after breath.
Coconut after breath.
Yeah, I'm coining that term
New
right
cologne
now.
by Chanel.
Oh my god. The cardamom was a bit light in these. You could also kind of get that. You could spice it up some more, but mostly they tasted like actually the banana pancakes my dad made when we were kids. So I was like also like, oh my god, I did it. And they taste like home. Surprisingly weird, you know?
That sounds great. I love banana pancakes.
I found the loophole to just make pancakes. How are you celebrating, Meg?
Yeah, so staying with the holy theme, and actually I made a very cardamom-forward dish as well. So I made quinoa kheer, and I stayed with the cookbook by Priya, Indianish.
Mm-hmm.
Since I had already chosen it for cookbook roulette, I thought, well, surely there's something in here that would count for holy. And I do not know a lot about holy. I also did some surface level research. It does seem like kheer is a pretty popular dessert for holy.
Yeah.
It's basically a chilled rice pudding, essentially. I also saw that thandai kheer is another very popular thing for holy, which sort of combines this rice pudding with thandai, which I believe is more like a drink. But this is just strictly the rice pudding part. If I'm incorrect about whether this is popular for holy, please let me know. I would love to learn more about the holiday, but I believe that I am right with this, hopefully. It's very basic. Like I said, it's usually a rice pudding, but Priya subbed quinoa for rice. So that's what made it a little different. Hers is also a very simple recipe. It's just milk, quinoa, sugar, cardamom, and pistachios on top. This is pretty basic to the recipe itself. It looks like sometimes more or different kinds of nuts are used for garnish, and often rose petals or rose water. So the one change I did make to the recipe was I added a dash of rose water because I love rose flavoring, especially in Indian desserts. So that's the one substitution I made. It's really easy to make. You just boil the milk and the quinoa on the stovetop for a good long time, actually, about 45 minutes. And then you let it rest overnight, and then the quinoa soaks up more of the milk. And yeah, it's like rice pudding or like chia pudding. If you've had any of those things, that's what this is like. It's silky, creamy, and then with the cardamom, you get this herbal kind of nutty spiciness. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very easy to make. I've grown to like rice pudding more the older I've gotten. I used to really not like it for texture reasons, but I'm kind of a fan now. So
Yeah.
I enjoyed this.
I like chia pudding, so I think that sounds tempting. You know, funny story is when I was younger, probably my sister told me tapioca pudding was eyeballs.
Yeah.
So, as you can imagine, I was kind of off of pudding with things in it for a bit.
I can imagine. I unfortunately don't have a photo to share with you at the moment because I was waiting for better lighting conditions, but I will send you a photo as soon as I have one.
Not gonna happen. Cloudy all the time.
Also, I ended up making a quarter size of this recipe. I planned to do a half portion, but I ended up having to quarter it because I had measured out about half of the milk that I intended to use and had it in a measuring cup on the counter. And I turned my back for literally a second, and one of my cats had jumped up on the counter and was drinking it. So I turned around and he's just lapping up the milk.
Oh
so
my God.
I had to throw out half the milk
because his milk now.
I didn't want kitty cat germs in my dessert.
Oh. You know what? I did see ahead of time that you were making this, and I also have the Indianish cookbook, and I just went and peeked, and I was like, what is this?
So you have an idea of what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah. I saw the picture, but then I was also like, that's a lot of milk.
It's a huge recipe. Huge. It was like half a gallon in the original recipe.
Yeah, and that was going to be my question. I was like, did you make this whole thing?
Definitely not.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely for your party. It's a party size.
Yes, if you are doing a big holy party, it makes sense to have crowd-sized portions. So what else have you been cooking up?
Speaking of tapioca. So for my first roulette spin.
Oh.
I did get something Indian, but it didn't fit holy like your dahi toast from last time.
Mm-hmm.
I got something more on the subtle side, and it's actually a snack for the fasting season. It's called Sabudana Khichdi, and it's from the book Tarkari by Rohit, Ghai. This dish is naturally gluten-free and vegan, and it's made with sabudana, or as they're also known, sago seeds or small tapioca pearls.
Okay.
They're little white tapioca balls. Actually, when I was in Priya's cookbook, I saw she also had a Sabudana recipe in there as well. So you can see hers if you want to. So first you take the Sabudana and you rinse it like you do with rice to get rid of all the starch. And then you soak it for an hour or till the pearls get easily squished between your fingers. That's how you know that they're ready. Squishable.
Squishable.
This dish also has small diced potatoes and tomatoes, and it's flavored with peanut oil, salt, pepper, peanuts, and cilantro. And you pan fry everything in stages, potatoes first till they're almost done, and then adding in the other things with the Sabudana pearls last, where they're just cooked just a few minutes until they turn translucent. And if you cook that any longer, it becomes a sticky mess, which is what, all the sites said. I really like this recipe. I've made it twice and eaten it for breakfast, lunch, or dinner because it really tastes like breakfast potatoes, rice, and peanuts. It's so good. It's so simple. It's really, like, we ate it for dinner, but traditionally it is like more of a snack, like during fasting season. In the cookbook, it said that, like, oh, there's only black pepper and salt in this because spices aren't allowed during fasting. So it's just really simple. But using, like, the peanut oil and the peanuts and the potatoes, I was like, yes, this is my jam.
It sounds really interesting to me. Looking at the photo, I thought it was pearl couscous at first. So that's really interesting to me that it's tapioca. I can't say that I've had many tapioca recipes.
I am fully on board. Like, I got that as the roulette spin. I was like, interesting. All right, let's try it. And then, like, it's so good. And I chopped everything so nice and small so it, like, cooks fast. It's a really quick dish to make.
Since you're not actually fasting, you could add salt and pepper and stuff if you wanted.
You could add anything you want. I think, even the book says you can add more veggies and whatever you like. Probably whatever you got in your fridge. But I liked this as it was because, honestly, to me, I was like, breakfast potatoes.
Gotta have potatoes for breakfast. Sounds like the roulette gods have smiled in our favor so far.
Yes. Would you like to go ahead with your next dish?
The other dish I made was in celebration of Pi Day, March 14th. I made a salted peanut butter and jelly ice cream pie. This is a recipe by Sohla El-Waylly, our favorite. It is from the Pod Appétit website, so you can find it there. It's what it sounds like. It's peanut butter and jelly ice cream pie. It's all there on the label. I had mentioned in a previous episode that I like that Sohla tends to incorporate junk food or already processed packaged foods in her recipes often. And this is no exception. She uses Ritz crackers for the crust of the pie. So you blitz up the Ritz crackers with peanuts, and basically that's it for the crust. And you bake it at a very low temperature until it's just golden. I think maybe you added some sugar to that too. Anyway, the crust is very simple. And then for the filling, it's mostly peanut butter. So you whip up eggs and brown sugar for a very long time, about 10 to 15 minutes until it's about tripled in size. It's very pale, very light, very fluffy. And then into that, you combine your peanut butter. And since it is so light and airy, you're kind of doing that folding motion so that you don't knock all the air out of it. So you already have this very fluffy mixture. And then in addition to that, you fold in a bunch of whipped cream. It's just, it's this beautiful texture, so cloudy and fluffy. And I don't know if I was using a smaller pie pan than was required or if I just really made it so fluffy, but I had a lot left over that did not fit in the crust, which, you know, I'm not complaining. I just poured that into a couple of ramekins, and then I had a few little extra ramekins of peanut butter ice cream, essentially. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So you pour the peanut butter mixture into the crust, and then comes the jelly part. So you dollop the jelly of your choice on top, and you swirl it with a butter knife or an offset spatula to get those nice little swirls. And then you freeze it for at least 8 hours. I think I froze it for more than a day before I had it. I really liked it. It's that classic sweet salty combo. The crust is very salty. You've got the buttery, salty Ritz crackers, and then the ice cream is also salty with the peanut butter, but then you get these nice sort of spikes of sweetness with the jelly. You can use whatever jelly you want. Sohla recommended grape jelly, which honestly typically isn't my go-to for PB&J, but I decided to follow the recipe, so I used grape jelly as well. But I think strawberry would be great. I personally also really like raspberry preserves. I really liked this a lot. It was a little bit more difficult to make than I thought it would be because you start out with like cooking the eggs and the brown sugar in a double boiler on the stove. And it wasn't until I got into the recipe that I was like, well, wait, why do I have to do this? I guess it's to make it food safe, but I was a little annoyed that it had this double boiler step, which I wasn't expecting. But I do think it was worth it. I thought it was very tasty.
Sohla is a genius.
I think so.
What kind of whipped cream did you use?
Just heavy whipping cream that you whip up yourself. Yeah.
Didn't go for the Cool Whip.
Definitely not.
Oh
I like
God.
Cool Whip, but there's a time and place for Cool Whip. And I think that whipped cream is always superior. So gotta go with the whipped cream.
I gotcha. No, that was so well described, Meg. I was literally like picturing it in my mind as you were saying each step. Oh my God. And then it freezes. What's the texture like when it freezes?
It is like ice cream. I was wondering how this would turn out because, as you might have noticed, there was no ice cream maker involved. Yeah. I think they tend to call this a no-churn ice cream. It kind of replicates churning with how much you beat it in the mixer, like I said, for about 10 to 15 minutes. But I wasn't sure. I was a little skeptical whether it'd be ice cream texture. But it was a very nice, smooth, ice creamy texture. I do think that if you let it sit out too much, well, so basically you freeze it, but then before you serve it, you let it come to temperature a little bit in the fridge for about 30 minutes before serving. And I do see that it could definitely melt more quickly. So you kind of have to find that sweet spot for when to serve it.
Oh my God. Remember my Nadia Bakes cheesecake that completely melted?
Oh, yes, yeah. Exactly.
I'm just getting flashbacks. Yeah, making frozen things it's a challenge.
But I also like this because it obviously stores really easily. A problem that I often have with baked goods is that I'm the only one in my household who eats sweets. So I often make these recipes where I just have so much left over and I have to pawn it off on friends and family.
Yeah.
But with this, it's already ice cream. So it just can sit happily in my freezer for as long as it takes me to eat it.
Your husband's not eating this?
No. It's a sweet.
Out.
I know. He hasn't had a dessert for 10 years.
Oh my God. That is commitment.
It truly is. He has more willpower than I do.
Wow. Your husband is like has Superman strength.
Strength of will to not eat sweets.
Wow. Iron will. Oh my gosh. Not in my house.
Yeah, it's a blessing and a curse to have all of the desserts entirely to yourself.
Oh my God. I make stuff and I'm just like, everybody come over and eat this. Eat this, please.
Exactly.
Not that it won't get eaten, but it's just like, these recipes are for more than 2 people, usually.
Certainly for more than one person.
Yes.
It looks like your next bake was a big bake. A lot of stuff, looks like.
Oh, yes. Yes. My second cookbook roulette spin, I got Banana Raspberry Breakfast Bake Casserole from Plant-Based Cookbook by Ashley Madden. And if anybody knows me, they know that I eat oats every day for breakfast. And that's basically what this is. I mean, it's a nice excuse to do some baking before work and get a yummy hot breakfast out of it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the recipe itself isn't groundbreaking. Even in the intro, Ashley calls it easy. She says, quote, "This easy oatmeal bake is my go-to brunch recipe. It's creamy and cozy and just divine with the almond butter caramel drizzled over the top. This is also great made ahead of time and reheated for a quick breakfast or even healthy dessert. The caramel drizzle that she talks about, I also made, but I made it a peanut butter version, and it was just as good, I would say.
It's like peanut butter and jelly. We're on trend here.
Oh my god, yes! Yes, look at us, look at us.
If Prue Leith is listening, she must be very confused about these flavor combos.
I know, peanut butter and jelly together?
Who would have thought?
All right. It's a gluten-free cookbook, so folks may not have used psyllium husk before, but it is a binder. You just add the powder to the water and it magically gelatinizes. It's pretty cool. This recipe was basically just like making a cake. You mix your dry ingredients of oats, almond slices, hemp seeds, baking powder, cinnamon, and salt in one bowl, and your wet ingredients of mashed banana, psyllium mix, maple syrup, vanilla, and almond milk in another bowl. Combine, fold in fresh or frozen raspberries, pour it all in the casserole dish, bake for an hour while you get ready for work. Like I did. I was like, into the oven and me into the shower. It was really nice to have this prepared breakfast every day. Basically fed 2 people for a week. And it was easy to heat up in the microwave. The peanut butter drizzle was so yummy, but that recipe needed to be doubled. Like, at the end of the week, I was like, a spoonful instead of like 3 dollops like I was doing on the first day. Yeah. I almost literally made it again this morning, except I don't have any ripe bananas anymore. As you can tell, I use bananas in both my recipes.
You used up all your bananas.
Yeah. That's the thing, too. When you want to make something like these, my 2 wheel spins have to wait for the bananas to get ripe. That's why they're at the end of the month.
This sounds very dessert-y to me. It wasn't too sweet for you?
It was probably sweeter than my regular oatmeal breakfast because it already had like maple syrup in there, and that's like, I don't add sweetener to my breakfast typically anymore. So yeah, it was a nice treat breakfast.
It looks very streusel-y with all the oats on top. Oh
yeah, it was good, and I made sure I just was like, leave it in there till it's nice, and I was just like on the oven like watching it. I was like, boil, so you get like that nice sort of crispy edge around the side.
Crispy edges are a theme here too, apparently.
Yes, just staring into my oven like, yeah, crisp up.
A watched bake never crisps? I don't know.
No, it does. It will. Tell it to. Yeah, it's a wheel spin that I was just like, all right, I already have all this stuff anyway, and I already eat oats for breakfast every day. Nothing too groundbreaking.
Well, tell me a little bit more about these husks. So you said they were added to be a stabilizer?
Yeah. So it's a powder. Basically, it's a mushroom powder.
Okay.
And then when you get it wet, it's like it turns into Jell-O. So it's like your snotty egg, you know?
Okay, I was going to ask, so what would this be considered a substitute for that's non-vegan? Or is it just a thing that this recipe developer decided to use?
The thing is, I've seen it primarily a lot in gluten-free recipes. So I need to do more research on that. But
it's maybe meant to be an egg substitute, or maybe not?
Feels like it. Yeah, I'm going to do more research.
Okay.
Because it seems like, I when I was cooking with it, I was like, oh, okay. Normally, I would do like a flax binder, which generally is sort of the same viscous goo.
Right.
And that is a known egg replacer. But yeah, the psyllium husk, I gotta look into that because I've seen it primarily in like gluten-free recipes.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear more because I'm not familiar with this ingredient and it sounds very interesting.
Yeah, I'll report back because you're a big mushroom gal.
I am a big mushroom gal. My latest cocktail creation was a mushroom cocktail, if anyone's interested.
Oh my god.
Go to whimsysoul.com and check out my crazy mushroom drink.
Crazy mushrooms.
Mm-hmm. Not that kind of crazy mushroom.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yes.
Nothing illegal.
or sometimes legal.
Or sometimes legal, depending on where you live.
Anywho, so that wraps up what we made for March, but I think it'd be great to let people know what tent poles we're looking at for April right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
April, first off, is National BLT Sandwich Month.
Us vegetarians are definitely jumping on that one.
And it is also a National Garlic Month.
Ooh, keep those vampires away.
We have Passover on April 5th, Easter on April 9th, National Grilled Cheese Sandwich Day on
Every day
April...
is grilled cheese day in my house.
Well, for the rest of the nation, it's April 12th.
Okay.
We know what Meg's gonna make. And then Eid al-Fitr is on April 21st.
And can you tell our listeners what that is if they're not familiar?
Eid is a celebration for the end of Ramadan. It's a Muslim holiday.
Nice.
So it's also known as Sweet Eid, this one in particular. Oh. So again, lots of desserts.
Nice.
All right. So now let's talk about what we can... I like how we jokingly say this every week, but also I truly love saying, here's what we've been consuming with our eyeballs.
Yeah, I like it too.
This past Sunday, I went to Vegan Exchange LA Food Festival, which is now every Sunday in North Hollywood. I know, of course, it went away for a little while because of COVID and the pandemic, but now it's back and it got advertised to me on Instagram, so I went. I mean, there are many food festival and food truck festivals here in LA, and some of them, like this one, are weekly. Oh, also, it's been so rainy this winter in LA, and I mean, all of California. I mean, like, bye-bye drought. But fortunately, last Sunday, it was a nice day, and I was like, what the heck, let's go outside and get our lunch. And it was just a really good excuse to buy my boyfriend lots of food for the day because he cooks for us during the week. And I was very nice. Every business there is vegan friendly, but, and here's my big but, not so gluten-free friendly.
Got it.
It's hard out here for us with dietary restrictions, but I survived. I got a sushi burrito with cucumber and avocado in it, and I got many, 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 many donuts. Sunkissed Donuts has plant-based, sugar-free, and gluten-free donuts. I got vanilla, chocolate, lavender, coconut, Samoa, and strawberry shortcake.
Those looked delicious. Justine shared a little video clip on Instagram, and they all look so good.
They are so flavorful, especially the lavender one. It was just like, ow, lavender. And I was like, something I wish I could have eaten that my boyfriend got was from a food truck called Voodoo Vegan. It's plant-based Cajun. He got a shrimp po' boy and their voodoo mac and cheese with sausage. I really appreciated their creativity because I'm tired of vegan food trucks or pop-ups where it's just Impossible burgers and fries. Bored of it. Cut to me getting an Impossible burger this week at California Adventure.
I like Impossible burgers, but yeah, you do want more variety.
Yeah, I like them. I just, if it's food trucks and I don't know, when it's like 3 out of 6 food trucks, like, and it's Impossible burgers, I'm like, come on, anybody could do that.
Let's see some more creativity. So is it almost all pre-prepared foods, or is it a little bit like a farmer's market where you can get ingredients and produce and stuff like that?
It's all pre-prepared foods. You go there for either food trucks or food stands like I have seen at farmers markets where people have like they're making tacos or something, you know.
Totally.
Something easy to make on a hot grill or a hot plate. There's also some prepackaged items like cinnamon buns or other little treats like that. And then also at this festival, they do have things like clothing, candles, goods, like a lot of vegan artists, products,
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so I found out about it on Instagram. They have a website, and they sort of change up who's going to be there every week, or roughly the same people, but I'm sure it'll change. I mean, I just can't wait for there to be sunshine again here in LA.
I'm ready for it to be really officially actually spring, definitely.
Oh my gosh, yes. What do you got, Meg?
I have started watching the Great British Bake Off, The Professionals.
Tell me, how is it?
It's basically what it sounds like. It's like Bake Off, but instead of amateurs, you have teams of 2 of professional pastry chefs. And instead of 3 separate challenges, they have 2 challenges per episode. There's the miniature challenge, which is usually at least 2 different types of bakes where you have to make dozens of them. And a big part of judging is that they're all very uniform. They all are very neat and are executed to an extreme level of precision. And then there's the showpiece challenge, kind of like the showstopper, but blown up even more. Usually there's a height requirement. It has to be really tall, really a showpiece. There's a lot of sugar work. I've seen a lot of structural elements to it. So there have been 7 seasons of this in the UK, but only season 6 is available here in the US on US Netflix.
Oh.
So that's the one I've been watching. It has, for this particular season, season 6, Liam Charles as one of the hosts. He was actually a Bake Off contestant in series 8 of the Great British Bake Off. And Tom Allen is the other host. He's a comedian. The judges are Cherish Finden and Benoit Blin. And
Benoit Blanc.
Benoit Blanc. I did almost say Benoit Blanc. It would be an amazing show if Benoit Blanc were one of the judges. I would love that.
I want to see it.
There's a lot of things that are similar to the original, the classic Bake Off, but then I would say there's a lot of differences too. It's not as feel good because all the contestants they've already made it in a way. You know, they're all already professionals. You don't really get behind the contestants' journey in the same way. Because a lot of times in Bake Off, there's this baker and they start off kind of self-conscious about their abilities. And they say things like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever make it as a baker. And then by the end, they're like, oh, I'm so proud of myself. Whereas with this, if there's any journey for the contestants, it's like, I must prove that I am at the top of my profession. They seem a little bit more uptight. The judges are more uptight. It's more stressful than Bake Off because the judges are harsher. They're stricter on the contestants. Their critique is a little bit more critiquey. And the showpieces have that big element of, oh, they have to move this giant towering piece from this table to this table.
Oh my god.
Is it gonna fall over? Is stuff gonna fall off? And the answer is often yes. So there is an element of stress that I don't think there is in the original Bake Off. But the things I do like about it is because they are professionals. It's very beautiful. Almost all of the bakes, even the less successful ones, tend to be quite remarkable to look at. So if you're a Bake Off fan and you've gone through all the seasons of Bake Off and you just need a little bit more, you might enjoy this.
Sounds good. I feel like everybody can tell I've been like not watching so much cooking shows. I definitely I think got a little burnt out, but more recently I've just been catching somebody up on every episode of Buffy because they've never watched them.
I feel like I'm in the exact same boat. I've started watching Arrested Development for the 5th time, I believe. And I haven't finished Professionals. I watched an episode and then didn't watch an episode for several weeks and then kind of followed that pattern. So it's not quite as engaging to me as the original Bake Off, but I enjoyed it enough. And sometimes I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what I'm in the mood to watch today.
Nice. I was thinking of when I'm done with Buffy again, I was thinking of finally watching High on the Hog. So maybe I'll report in on that next time. Well, probably. I'm going to check it out.
Well, and also Taste the Nation starts again soon.
Is it soon? I thought it was May.
Oh, is it May? Oh, no.
It's either April or May. I'm looking this up.
Oh, no, I think you're right. I think it is May.
Damn it. Quit holding out on me, Padma Lakshmi.
Oh, yeah. May 5th is the first episode. Womp womp.
Tear.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get your hopes up.
That's it. I'm literally just biding my time till Taste the Nation is back. Meg, did you watch the latest episode of the Try Guys Phoning It In?
You know I did, and I loved it. I was so excited the whole season because I knew that Shane Madej was going to be one of the contestants, and I love him. I think he's hilarious. I love the Watcher Network, of which he is one of the co-founders. Man, what a good episode.
Yes.
Hilarious that they decided to make the exact same dish.
Thing. Oh my god. Yes, 2 flaming skulls
that were gilded.
Yes, with Duff there. That was hilarious. Dude, I think it was the best episode.
I think so too. I wish that Jimmy Wong also could have been there somehow because I love him as a judge. But I agree, it was probably the best episode of the season.
Yeah. And now the season's over and all I just want them to do is just do it again.
Exactly. If Try Guys content were just phoning it in, I would be pretty happy.
Yeah, but I also want Johnny Cakes all the time.
True.
That's it for our content consuming time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for all of the pictures and links to the recipes that we talked about today, head on over to our Substack. You can subscribe by going to podappetit.substack.com or just hit up our website, podappetitpodcast.com. You'll see links to everything we do.
Yes.
If you are ever so kind, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Ever so kind.
Ever so kind. I'm asking very nicely at pod_appétit if you want to listen to our podcast via the YouTube platform. We are there. Please subscribe. I've said it like 12 times now. All right, so that's all of March. So join us next time for all those April goodies. I am also very excited because I love our new podcast format and I am just so excited to be cooking with you and everybody listening.
Yeah, be sure to share your own bakes with us. We want to see.
All right, till next time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes.
Go to podappetitpodcast.com for all our episodes and links to everywhere you can find us online.
Also, be sure to subscribe to Pod Appétit Gourmet Takes on your favorite podcatcher.